You are listening to The Vocal Technologist. Spoken tech for your ears.
So the bit rattling around my head is this. We have all these brilliant new tools meant to make us stand out, but somehow everything is starting to sound exactly the same.
Yeah, it really is the great paradox of this whole automation era. We have this infinite capacity for creation, yet we're rapidly converging on a single, thoroughly average baseline.
It is genuinely doing my head in,
Yeah.
which is why I am very keen to sit down and properly untangle this whole mess with you here on Vocal Technologist.
Glad to be here, because there really is a massive contradiction playing out if you look at the research.
Right, because the tech industry is just churning out endless platforms to automate our writing, our marketing, like our entire digital presence.
Exactly. But if you actually suss out the hard numbers, human taste, proper structure, and genuine authenticity are suddenly the most expensive premiums in the entire market.
So if you're listening to this and wondering why your perfectly optimized AI-generated website isn't converting anymore, well, we are going to figure out exactly why.
And we should probably start by looking at the mechanical reality of the AI tools themselves, specifically the ones promising to, optimize a brand's voice.
Right, because you see all these marketing AI platforms out there, and they all aggressively sell some kind of brand voice feature.
They do, and the data suggests they aren't just failing to capture voice, they are actively flattening it.
Yeah, I'm guessing the way these actually work under the hood is they just take a list of corporate buzzwords, like innovative or friendly,
Right? Yeah.
and then they just forcefully inject them into whatever you write. Is that roughly it?
Well, it's actually a bit more systematic than just injecting buzzwords.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The way these platforms standardize brand voice is by taking your content and applying generic tone guidelines over the top using statistical probabilities.
Okay, lost me a bit there. Statistical probabilities.
Right. So a large language model doesn't actually understand what it means to be friendly or professional. It just predicts the next most likely word based on its training data.
Ah, I see.
So when you instruct a model to make a paragraph sound more professional, it reaches for the most statistically common, middle-of-the-road corporate vocabulary available in its massive data set.
Okay, so if you feed it a weird, jagged, genuinely interesting thought, the AI essentially acts like sandpaper.
Exactly like sandpaper.
It just aggressively smooths off all the unique edges until it looks like a perfectly round, boring pebble that could belong to absolutely anyone.
Precisely. They take a standard input and adjust the output to sound competent and safe.
Right.
But what this creates is a massive feedback loop of sameness. The issue isn't even the software itself, really.
It's not.
No, the tools are functioning exactly as designed. The problem is the input. When you feed a machine average thoughts, you get average output, just scaled up infinite.
It's scaled up infinitely, yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Researchers actually recommend this simple exercise called the swap, output, and reconstruction test, just to see if you've fallen into this trap.
How does that work, like swapping the logos on the website?
Exactly. You swap your brand name for a competitor's, output the AI copy, and see if anyone could actually tell the difference.
And I'm guessing they can't.
9 times out of 10, they cannot. There is no specific structural belief behind the writing.
Wow.
And this realization that AI inherently drives content toward a bland, indistinguishable middle, it's actually causing a major shift at the very top of the AI food chain.
Yeah, I nearly fell out of my chair when I read the specific data point in the notes. This completely threw me.
It's a remarkable signal for where the market is heading, honestly. Anthropic, which is one of the leading companies actually building these massive language models.
Yep, the big players.
Right. They are currently hiring a standards editor,
Okay.
and the compensation for this role is around $300,000.
Wait, let's just pause on that. An AI giant, a company literally building the machines that are supposed to replace writers, is paying $300,000 for a human editor.
Yes, they are.
Are they just paying someone an absolute fortune to argue about commas and tone?
Well, they're paying for something much deeper than grammar. They need someone to oversee the tone, clarity, and the epistemological boundaries of their communications.
Right, okay.
And the reason why is fascinating when you connect it to the mechanics of the market. Right now, the cost of generating a first draft has essentially dropped to zero.
Because the AI does it instantly.
Exactly. These models can pump out endless variations of text for pennies, but that sheer abundance makes human judgment exponentially more valuable.
Because someone has to actually sit there and decide what's true and what's actually worth putting out into the world.
Exactly. Deciding what is actually worth publishing,
Yeah.
simplifying a highly complex technical idea without losing its nuance,
Right.
safeguarding against hallucinations that could tank the brand's reputation. I mean, none of that can be automated yet. That requires highly developed editorial taste.
Yeah, so the generation of content is practically free, which means editorial judgment is now this scarce premium resource.
You've got it.
It's exactly like the commercial food industry, isn't it? AI is the massive industrial deep fryer churning out endless cheap chips by the ton.
It is a great way to put it.
It's wildly efficient, it's cheap, and it fills a plate. But that $300,000 editor, they are the executive chef deciding the actual menu.
Precisely.
You can automate the frying all day long, but you absolutely cannot automate taste.
It's a perfect analogy. The mechanics of creation have been commoditized. Taste is what separates the winners from the noise.
Okay, so if the internet is just flooding with these cheap chips, right? This endless sea of generic, sandpapered AI content, how is anyone actually finding anything anymore?
It is a huge problem.
Because if you're trying to sell a product, the old way of just stuffing a blog post with keywords to rank on a search engine, that feels completely broken.
It is breaking rapidly.
I'm guessing the AI assistants are just reading the internet for us and spitting the answers right in the chat.
That is exactly what is happening. We are witnessing a fundamental structural shift from traditional search engine optimization to AI interception.
Yeah, interception. Okay.
Right. Search intent isn't disappearing. I mean, buyers are still looking for solutions, but their searches are being intercepted before they ever reach a company's actual website.
Intercepted by things like ChatGPT or Perplexity.
Yes, exactly. As well as the AI overviews built directly into the major search engines themselves.
Right, the summaries at the top.
Yeah. These generative AI assistants are now actively guiding buyers through their research and shortlisting phases.
Oh, wow.
So a business-to-business buyer might go through their entire vendor evaluation process, compare 5 different tools, and make a decision without a single visit to a vendor's actual blog.
So if you're sitting there listening to this and wondering why your website traffic just fell off a cliff, this is exactly what's happening to you.
Unfortunately, yes.
So how do you even survive that? If the AI is essentially stealing your traffic, how do you get the machine to actually cite you as the source it shows the user?
Well, the notes highlight a brilliant case study here from a data company called Atlen.
Okay.
They managed to capture an astonishing 35% share of AI citations in their specific, highly competitive category.
35%, that is heaps.
It's massive.
My first thought is they must have just unleashed a bot to write 10,000 articles to overwhelm the system.
Yeah.
Just flood the zone, right?
You would think so, but they did the exact opposite. They captured that massive market share by building just 52 high-quality pages.
Wait, 52 pages total.
Total. But these weren't standard keyword-stuffed articles. They were meticulously structured to answer complete buyer questions.
Okay, what does a complete buyer question actually mean to a machine, though? How did they structure it so the AI picked them out of the pile?
It comes down to understanding how large language models evaluate information. An LLM is trained to look for semantic density, structural clarity, and high information gain entities.
Right, no fluff.
Exactly. So Atlan built comprehensive comparison pages and deep buyer guides that included expert authors, fresh updates, cited research.
Oh, actual data?
Yeah, proprietary data that couldn't be found anywhere else, and balanced product assessments.
So it's like putting up a massive neon sign in a dark alley.
Yeah.
The web crawler comes along, and instead of a wall of vague text, it sees beautifully structured data.
Precisely.
Like a clear HTML table, a bulleted list of actual verifiable research. And the bot goes, finally, something that actually makes sense.
Exactly. They gave the AI models exactly what they need to feel confident in a response. Trustworthy, structured, objective information.
That makes total sense.
And because of that structural quality, 71% of their top-ranking U.S. keywords now trigger AI overviews, with Atlan acting as the primary cited source.
Yeah, brilliant.
The models inherently trust the density of their information, but this brings us to a critical technical failure we're seeing across the board with companies trying to replicate this.
Oh, where are they messing up?
Well, AI agents are getting completely stuck on company pricing pages.
Stuck how? They literally can't read the numbers.
Precisely. To understand why, you have to understand how web crawlers navigate the internet.
Okay.
Crawlers do not click drop-down menus or scroll through pretty animations the way a human does. They read the raw HTML code of a page.
Right, they just want the text.
Yes. So if a company hides its pricing behind a JavaScript blocker, an interactive sliding calculator, or messy formatting that requires user interaction to load,
The crawler can't see it.
exactly. The AI crawler simply sees a blank wall. It cannot extract the price.
Because it's too impatient to figure out your clever little widget. It just wants the raw text.
Exactly. And when an AI gets confused or blocked by interactive code, it doesn't try harder. It just defaults to third-party sources.
Oh, so it just guesses.
Worse. It might pull an outdated, wildly inaccurate price from a random message board instead of your official site.
Ouch.
Pricing needs to be explicit, centralized, and in plain text so the machine can read it without friction.
Hang on, I have to push back on this a bit. So we are essentially being told to ruin our beautiful, interactive websites just to please a robot.
Well,
Like, we have to strip away all the nice, clever design bits and just dump a plain text price tag on the
Yeah.
page?
it is less about stripping away the human element and more about removing structural friction. Empathy in design absolutely must include clarity.
Okay, I hear you.
If a buyer asks an AI assistant for your price, and the AI says, I don't know, that buyer doesn't come to your website to find out. They just move on to your competitor whose prices were clearly readable.
Yeah, fair enough. Burying your price behind fancy code, it's basically like inviting someone into your shop but then throwing a giant plastic tarp over the cash register.
Exactly.
No one's going to buy from you if they have to guess what things cost, whether they're a human or a robot. If you're getting something out of this chat, by the way, Chuck, on notifications for the show. But seriously, the tarp over the register, it makes doing business completely impossible.
And, the human might eventually ask you to remove the tarp, but an AI agent will just instantly walk out and go to the store next door where the tags are clearly labeled.
Spot on. Which brings up a really thorny issue, actually.
What's that?
If AI is so easily confused by a simple drop-down menu on a pricing page, how on earth is it supposed to actually talk directly to our customers? Because if you've been stuck in an AI customer service loop lately, it feels completely broken. But shouldn't the whole point of AI be to do the heavy lifting for us? Like, if I had to jump through hoops to use the software, why am I even using it?
You are identifying a phenomenon that leading product designers are now calling disrespectful software.
Disrespectful software, I like that.
There is a very dangerous assumption in the tech industry that if a product is designed with a veneer of empathy or conversational delight, it is automatically a good user experience.
Right.
But empathy means absolutely nothing if the software removes user control.
But what does that look like in the real world? Like, practically?
Well, because large language models are designed to generate text and perform actions, they naturally default to trying to do tasks for the user.
Okay.
But this often creates rigid, bloated flows that actually push more cognitive load onto the human. It prioritizes the system's efficiency over the user's agency.
So it's trying so desperately to be helpful that it actually just gets in the way.
Exactly. Consider this anecdote from an airport restaurant in the research.
Oh, airports are the worst for this.
They are. A customer sat down just wanting to order a simple cheeseburger. But the restaurant had implemented an entirely AI-driven QR ordering system.
Of course they did.
To simply get the burger, the customer had to connect to a new Wi-Fi network, create a digital account, verify an email, and check multiple boxes on an AI-generated conversational interface.
Oh, mate. That is my absolute nightmare. You're at an airport, you're stressed, you've got 20 minutes until boarding.
Exactly.
I don't want to go on a digital journey with a chatbot. I just want some food.
The cognitive penalty of that context switching was so high and the process was so convoluted that a frustrated waiter eventually just stepped in.
Oh, thank God.
They asked the customer what they wanted and placed the order manually in under 10 seconds. The context switching required by the AI system completely destroyed what should have been a frictionless customer experience.
So how does a brand actually know where the line is? Because surely AI chatbots are good for something.
They are.
I'm guessing it comes down to the stakes of what you're doing. Like, I don't need a robot's help to buy a cheap burger, but maybe I actually do need a hand if I'm buying a complex enterprise software package.
The hard data perfectly validates your guess. Researchers ran 4 experiments across over 1,300 shoppers to see exactly when AI chatbots boost sales and when they actively hurt them.
Okay, let's hear the numbers.
And the divide is entirely based on the complexity of the purchase. For highly complex products,
To what?
Think apparel, where a buyer has to evaluate fit, size, multiple styles, and coordinate entire outfits. For those, chatbot recommendations actually increased purchase intent by nearly 45%.
Wow, 45%.
Uh,
Because it's a complicated decision. You have to sort through a massive catalog of variables, and you actually need a guide to help filter it all down.
Yes. The AI acts as a genuinely useful concierge navigating a complex assortment.
Right.
But for simple products like ordering that cheeseburger or buying a basic item with a very small assortment, the chatbot significantly reduced purchase intention.
It hurts sales.
It actively hurt sales because it added completely unnecessary friction to a decision the user could make in 2 seconds.
That makes total sense. A bad AI chatbot is basically like a waiter who insists on standing at your table and cutting your steak for you.
That is a brilliant illustration.
It's like, mate, you are absolutely having a lend of my patience here. I just wanted a fork. Stop trying to do it for me.
Exactly. Respectful software gives users control. It preserves friction when that friction is useful for complex decision-making, but it stays entirely out of the way when the task is simple.
Right.
The solution to bad digital experiences isn't throwing more AI at the problem. It is building systems that are judged by the exact same speed and ease standard as the human they replaced.
So if bad AI just adds intensely annoying friction, and generic AI just creates this massive sea of sameness that smooths away all the edges,
Yes.
how are the smartest brands actually cutting through the noise right now? Because if you look at your own feeds, nobody wants to watch a slick, heavily produced corporate video anymore. We are all craving something that feels real.
They are, and it is driving a massive shift in consumer behavior. Audiences do not want more passive, hyper-polished footage anymore.
Yeah.
The studios and brands are churning out more content than ever, but fans are exhausted by just watching. They want participation.
Less, sit quietly and watch this perfect ad, and more, come play in the sandbox with us.
Exactly. Consumers today, especially those raised on gaming and creator culture, want to actively remix, extend, and interact with the worlds they engage with.
They want to be part of that.
They want new ways to participate in a franchise, not just more passive viewing. And in the brand space, this is translating into what analysts are calling the era of baddies.
The era of baddies. Okay, you have to untangle that one for me.
It refers to a major shift away from highly polished traditional influencer ads and a heavy pivot toward messy, organic content from real customers and everyday employees.
Oh, interesting.
Companies are handing over the keys to community pages and encouraging everyday users to create content that feels raw and entirely unscripted.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed that. Half the stuff in my feed looks like it was filmed on a shaky phone in the back of a warehouse with terrible lighting.
Yes, exactly.
But it actually makes me stop and watch because it feels instantly authentic. It doesn't feel like a commercial.
And the numbers back up your instinct entirely. This strategy is a direct response to a massive decline in trust for traditional higher production advertising.
People just scroll right past the slick stuff.
They do. Currently, 40% of Gen Z favors these raw, peer-to-peer style recommendations over anything else.
40%. Wow.
But what is truly fascinating is that this desire for unpolished authenticity isn't just limited to consumer brands selling clothes or makeup. Even B2B, business-to-business companies are drastically adapting.
Wait, but surely the corporate software crowd isn't doing shaky iPhone videos in warehouses.
Well, they are finding their own version of it. As digital banner ads get more expensive and less effective, B2B companies are moving huge portions of their budgets toward connected TV ads for storytelling.
Wait, just for anyone who isn't deep in ad buying, what exactly is connected TV in this context?
Connected TV refers to advertising on streaming platforms or smart TV apps rather than traditional broadcast television.
Oh, right, okay.
It allows a B2B company to take over the biggest screen in a buyer's house to tell a highly targeted 30-second story.
Nice.
And instead of using slick corporate graphics, they're increasingly repurposing raw, unpolished videos from their founders, or using direct conversational customer testimonials.
So even the massive enterprise software companies realize they need to step out from behind the corporate logo and actually tell a human story to get anyone to care.
Yes. But here is the catch.
There's always a catch.
There is. And it reveals a fascinating, somewhat absurd psychological bias in the industry. As tech companies desperately try to hire for this kind of authentic storytelling, we are seeing the tech broification of marketing.
Oh, this sounds brilliant. What exactly is the tech broification of marketing?
Well, tech companies realize that they urgently need human storytelling and editorial taste to stand out from the sea of AI generation.
Yep, the $300,000 editor we talked about earlier.
Exactly, but they are running into a cultural problem. Marketing has historically been a female-dominated field. Around 70% of marketers are women.
Okay.
And historically, sociologists note that as fields skew female, the perceived status and the pay scales tend to drop.
Right. And the tech industry absolutely worships its code and its engineering titles above all else.
Precisely. So, to justify paying premium salaries for storytelling and taste, and to attract a demographic that demands high status, these companies are simply relabeling marketing jobs with titles like narrative engineer.
Narrative engineer. Are you serious?
Yes, I'm completely serious.
That is deeply ironic.
They are borrowing engineering language to artificially boost the credibility of the role.
Unbelievable.
The automation boom is forcing the tech world to recognize that human storytelling and editorial taste are incredibly crucial for survival.
Right.
But instead of just calling it marketing and respecting it as such, they relabel it. It maintains this deep-seated, ridiculous bias that work only feels important and only deserves high status if it sounds technical.
That is just wild. I mean, these brands know they are completely drowning in automated sameness. They know they desperately need human authenticity to survive.
Yes.
But they are so obsessed with tech culture that they have to stick a fake mustache on their creatives and pretend they're engineers just to respect them. It's a bit ordinary, really.
It perfectly highlights the friction of this entire transition we are in. We collectively recognize the overwhelming value of human connection and refined taste in an automated world.
Yeah.
But our corporate structures are still awkwardly trying to force those messy human elements into a neat technical box.
It really is a massive contradiction. So pulling all these threads together, the absolute irony of this current tech dream is that the more we automate the heavy lifting, the coding, the drafting, the standard replies,
Right.
the more valuable the actual human touch becomes. The human element isn't being replaced, it's being elevated to the ultimate luxury status.
The baseline of what is acceptable has risen so high that the only way to truly differentiate a brand now is through genuine, unscalable human judgment.
But here's a thought to chew on that wasn't even in all this research.
Oh.
If digital friction and AI sameness just keep getting worse, and we're all fighting this hard just to prove we are real online, what if the ultimate premium brand flex in 5 years is entirely offline?
Like a physical retreat.
Like zero screens.
Huh.
A completely analog purchasing experience where you only deal with humans on paper face to face.
Yeah.
It might just be the only way left to prove you actually care. If you reckon your human judgment is still your best asset, leave a rating. Focal Technologists, see you soon.
Spoken Tech for your ears.